The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Fitzpatrick, and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. And we're very excited to host today's webinar, Navigating the PMP Exam Application Process from Start to Finish. Presenting today's topic will be Jeff Allen. Jeff is an Agile certified subject matter expert with over 14 years of experience in providing trainings and consulting services. He has successfully coached over 6,000 PMP, PMI, ACP, ASM, and PMI RMP candidates and has maintained an overall pass rate of at least 98%. He has organized and conducted seminars in about 900 tertiaries, secondary, and primary market cities throughout the United States each year. And he has organized and conducted seminars on the history of the United States and the Constitution throughout the state of California. He's performed public speaking and appearances on radio and TV. Now, please bear in mind that this is an overview of a very robust topic. We do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored towards your specific requirements. And if you are interested in a further discussion, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you'll get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we've been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We do have 9 practice areas in which we specialize. They encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation will be from the Business Process Practice area. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for business process courses. Our upcoming classes include various training on project management, professional training, portfolio management, professional training, and much more, which you can check out on your screens. Private training to teams is also available, of which the learning plan can be customized to the specific needs of the audience. You can also access a variety of business process marketing assets, such as the free 1-hour training, free on-demand training, and blogs by clicking on the available webinar handout. These offerings can be found with a simple search on our website at netcomlearning.com. So why should you attend this webinar? Well, in this session, a PMI certified expert will provide guidance on the process of completing PMI format for certification after attending the PMP course. The trainer will also offer valuable tips and strategies for maintaining your PMP certification and share insights on how to utilize your newly acquired skills and knowledge to enhance your professional development and benefit your organization. And now I'd like to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started. To begin with, you do have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. Simply hit the Escape key and find the Zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters. Feel free to submit any questions you do have for the presenters here in the questions pane, and we will address them at the end of the session. And to get the best out of today's webinar, we've included the slides, courses we talk about, and marketing assets in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer. You may refer to them to get a better understanding of the topic today. And we do realize that many of you will have to leave early, but wanted to let you know that as you do leave the session today, you'll be presented with a short survey. We'd like to request for you to take a quick moment out of your day to participate in this brief survey. Your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience and improve our future sessions for you. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. And now finally, I'd like to pass this over to Jeff, who will be presenting today's topic. Okay, Jeff, go ahead. You have the screen.
Thank you, Tracy, and welcome everybody. can I just double check? Are you seeing my shared desktop view?
I am seeing it.
Okay, because I just had a little pop-up here that said share my screen. Okay, so again, Tracy, thank you for that nice introduction, and welcome everybody. What we're going to do, as Tracy was pointing out, is we're going to take a look at the next steps now that you've gone through the course and have been able to claim the hours that you need. And now it's how do you actually get your application completed, submitted, and then schedule your exam and then take your exam. So we'll take this in kind of 4 steps here. We'll talk about the actual process of preparing your application, and included with that will be what happens when you submit it, because there's 3 possible outcomes. And then we'll talk about how you actually schedule your webinar, or I shouldn't say webinar, sorry team, the exam, and that will be either online or at a testing center. So we'll talk about those 2 scenarios. And then after you've passed your exam, we'll talk about how you maintain your credential. You may already know this, it's good for 3 years. And then it will either expire or you will have to have claimed the appropriate number of PDUs or professional development units. So let's jump right into the application process. And at the top of this slide are the PMI link that you would
Jeff,
go to for
it's
this.
Tracy. I'm going to jump in. Can you go full screen on your slides? We don't see them. So just go full screen.
I am in presentation mode, so
okay, because
I was in presentation mode before.
And did you take the screen? You said share my screen. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, you do have the screen, but I'm not seeing yours.
What do you see?
Oh,
Tracy?
okay. Ben has it now. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I didn't make any changes on my end, so hopefully everybody's good. If you're not, team, go ahead and chat so that we can help you fix that. Okay, so the application process. So there are 3 steps, and you can find these steps online at PMI.org, and you can see the full URL at the top of this screen here. When you get your downloads, when you get your PDF version of this, those links should be active and you could just click on those if you want. So the first part is easy. It's just confirm that you're eligible. And step 2 is to just get all of your information gathered together so that when you go online and you start entering your data, you have it. And there are 2 main things that you need to focus on. There's the project experience that you've had, and also the trainings that you have completed. So let me take you to step number 3, which is simply complete and submit your application. And on that page that if you were online and you were looking at the page that we were just looking at, there would be a button that says apply for the PMP, and you can see the URL there. And when you click on that button, it's going to take you to a screen that looks something like this, where the first thing that you have to do is enter your academic education. So you remember when we went through the course that you have to have either a 4-year degree or a high school diploma or something similar to that. That's what this is right here. And so it has some drop downs. It's really easy to complete. And here I just put in information about me. So I did the high school diploma path. I put in the dates that I went to high school and all of that. And then when you click Save Education, you'll see at the top right of your screen a green check mark that says secondary degree, and that's all saved. And notice that you can edit this at any time prior to submitting your application. The next section of the application is your professional education. And you'll remember that you have to do 35 hours of project management specific training. And that, of course, is met by the PMP exam prep course that you already went through. And so the proper title that you would enter for that is the PMI authorized PMP exam prep course. The provider, of course, would be Netcom Learning. And then you have to put just the month in which you took that course. And once you click the Save Education, you'll see that over on the top right there, you've got the 35 hours all checked off. And again, you can edit this if you need to. Now, so those are really easy. So the third part of the application is the one that is the biggest challenge, and this is where you document your project management experience. And so you will get a screen like this with the form that you fill out for each of your projects for which you're claiming project management experience. There's no maximum number of projects that you can claim. So it's just however many you need to either get to the 60 months of project management experience if you're doing the secondary degree, or if you have a 4-year degree, then it's going to be 3 years or 36 months. So let me just show you the header section first, and then we'll talk about the experience section. So what you'll do is you'll enter the project title. If you have any kind of sensitive information about the project title or anything like that, you do not have to include that here, obviously. So some project title that makes sense for you, the organization for which you were doing your project, what your job title was, and then you're going to do some drop downs that allow you to select a functional reporting area and the organization's primary focus. They have a lot of choices there, including in both of those categories, and other category, which allows you to freeform type in an answer to either the functional reporting area or the organization's primary focus. And then you claim what method that you used. And so that's going to be either predictive or adaptive. You use a drop down to put in the project team size and then the project budget in US dollars. And then what you do is you select the month and the year that you started, and then the month and the year that you finished. If the project is still in progress, you can check that little box that's off to the bottom right. Then underneath that is where you're, well, let me take on one other thing here when it comes to your project dates. So you document the months of project management experience that is not overlapping. So you can't double dip. So in this example below, it shows the applicant, working on project 1 and project 2, and for a while it was a parallel effort. But all you can do is count your months once. So for these two projects together, from January 1st to June 1st, you can only count 5 months, right? So you just can't double dip. Now, in the experience section, this is the part that's the biggest challenge. And so what we've done is we've put together some suggestions on how to meet the description requirements. And let's just go over that quickly. It says, provide a high-level description that summarizes your experience and includes the project objective, outcome, your role on the project, and your responsibilities and deliverables. When it comes to deliverables, that refers to project management deliverables, not the deliverables of your project. So we've provided some example formatting for how you can address the project description requirements. So the first part here is for predictive project experience. For responsibilities and objectives, you would enter served as, and then whatever your title was, of a team of X number of members, to, and then a brief objective description of the project. So it could be create a new product or revise a product. It could be a project to retire a product. So whatever it is, with the goal of, and then you state the outcome desired, which could look like increase revenue or sales, increase efficiency or customer satisfaction, or improvement of technology or processes. It could even be a goal of regularization. So whatever it is, and you don't need to get into any kind of proprietary information about your organization or your project. When it comes to deliverables, you want to use phrases. You want to use words that PMI will instantly recognize. For example, during initiating, created the charter, the stakeholder register, the assumptions list, etc. Could be one or all of those. And you recognize that from the course that we went over and the processes that are part of predictive, right? We had the different phases of initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. And then in each of those, there were those various processes. Like in initiating, it was develop project charter or identify stakeholders. And so you can see that's all we're leveraging right here are those phrases that show up in those project management phases and the related processes that are in there. So during planning, led the team to create or identify requirements, scope, WBS, etc. When it comes to executing, acquired resources, onboarded contractors, collected data, collected lessons learned, etc. During monitoring and controlling, reported on scope, schedule, cost, quality, etc. During closing, received final sign-off, finalized lessons learned, archived data, transitioned the product to a live environment, etc. And then the last little section is the outcome. The project was successful because customer satisfied, it completed on time, on budget, etc. So that's all pretty simple, and don't make this any more complicated than it needs to be. PMI will immediately pick up on your phrases if you use the ones that they're familiar with, and they will be perfectly happy with that. Now, when it comes to submitting experience for adaptive projects, it's going to be similar. For example, for responsibilities and objectives, served as Scrum Master, Coach, Servant Leader of a team, etc. And then the rest is basically just the same. When it comes to deliverables, we're going to use phrases that align with Agile and Scrum. So the starting part of the project or initiating, help to create project vision statement or charter, help select their onboard team members, help ensure the team to be self-organizing. For planning the project, helped and coached the team to identify, estimate, and prioritize the initial product backlog, helped coach the product owner to create the roadmap, story map, and/or release plan. Leading and supporting the project team, so facilitated sprint planning, daily scrums, sprint reviews, and retrospective meetings. Leading and supporting the team continued, help and coach the product owner to maximize return on investment, help the team and product owner with product backlog maintenance. And you recognize all of this from going through the course. So none of this is a big surprise. So you can just use this as a guide for those things that you had experience in during the project, and you just list them in the experience area. Let's see, tracked and removed impediments, you remember about that. And then closing is just something like ensured the final transfer or handoff of the project results, as well as helped ensure the organization, customer, or end user value realization through training, knowledge transfer, and customer satisfaction, and then facilitated the final project retrospective. And then the outcome, a statement like you did or will do on the predictive. Project was successful, etc. So pretty simple. I have been through the process of applying for 3 different PMI certifications. And one of them, I was flagged for an audit, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But going through that audit process, I learned what kind of information they wanted to have in the experience part. And so this is, gathered over years and years of experience of working with PMI. So what we've just been talking about are the do's. I do want to talk a little bit about the don'ts when you're listing your project experience. So first of all, do not list or describe project experience as operations, annual, production, maintenance, maintained system, kept systems up and running, met daily and monthly quotas. The reason for that is those kinds of things PMI will view as operations, and projects are not operations, right? If you remember the definition of a project, it's a temporary endeavor that results in something unique. So it's not something that's repeated. It's not something that is ongoing. So if you use words like we just listed there, or even use words like predictable or repeatable or day-to-day, PMI is not going to like that, and they'll probably reject your application. Also, do not list your project experience as program experience. And remember, when we were going through the course, we defined what a program is in PMI's world, which is a group of related projects. And PMI has a separate exam, a whole separate certification process for program management. So they don't want to know about managing programs. And if you list that as project management experience, it's probably going to get rejected. However, because a program is a group of related projects, you can list your program experience, but what you do is you do it one project at a time, right? Where you're focusing on the projects that were a part of the program, not the management of the program it supported. So once you have completed enough projects to claim the months that you need, so either 36 months or 60 months, then you submit your application. And when you submit your application, there are 3 possible things that can happen. One is it can be approved, it can be rejected, or your application can be selected for an audit. Now, if your application is approved, your next step is to pay for and schedule the exam. If your application is rejected, you'll have the opportunity to correct it or update it and resubmit it. And if you have any questions about, what they're looking for, or you need any kind of clarification with regards to what they're looking for, just contact PMI with any questions. So that actually happened with me. I had one of my applications. It was not the one that was audited, but it was one where they rejected it. And the main reason that they rejected it was they didn't like how I was describing the project experience. So that's why we gave you those do's in the previous slides. Now, if your audit if your application is selected for audit, you basically have to provide proof for all of the requirements that the application covers. PMI says that audits are randomly selected. I don't know for sure if that's true. It seems to me that if they see different things on applications, maybe that triggers the audit. But they say it's just random, and they say about 10% of all applications are flagged for an audit. So all you have to do is get a copy of your degree, like your bachelor's degree or your high school diploma, whatever. You have to get verification of experience signed off by your supervisor at the time of the project. And then the last thing is you need to provide a certificate or proof of the 35 hours of project management training. So that would look like your NetCom course completion certificate. So it's actually not hard to do. It's just a little bit of a hassle. The timing for this, in case you're interested, is PMI on its website says that your application is going to be reviewed within 5 to 10 days. And that's when you'll get either the approval or the notice of an audit or a rejection email. And then you just, take the next steps after that. If you get audited, the timing on that kind of ends up being on you primarily, because you have to gather everything together and submit it. And then PMI will then relook at it again, and that would be, another 5 to 10 days. My experience is it's much closer to the 5 days than it is to the 10. So it actually moves pretty fast. The timing, however, is a factor because if you have some kind of a schedule or work requirements that impacts when you actually schedule your exam, you need to know that it's not an immediate type of approval or passing the audit. It does take a little bit of time. But once your application has been approved and you've paid your money, then what you do is you schedule your exam. And there is a place in the on the website where you actually schedule your exam, and there'll be a button that says schedule your exam. And you have two choices, like I mentioned earlier. You can go to a testing center, or you can do it online, like if you wanted to take it at home or at the office. I get asked questions about, whether it's better to go to a testing center or to do it online. And my experience, for what it's worth, is I prefer the testing center scenario, because you'll have a live proctor there. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to get some feedback about, making sure you have everything that you need to take the exam and it's all set up. Whereas if you're doing it at home or in the office, you have to turn your cameras on, and there'll be a proctor that is kind of watching your eyes and what you're looking at. And I've just heard stories, and I know they're anecdotal, but I've heard stories of people who, when they're thinking about a question, they look down, and they're not doing anything other than just, thinking about what the correct answer is. But a proctor who can't see what's in front of you might think that you're looking at some information, and it's a closed book exam. You don't get to have any kind of materials or cheat sheets or anything like that in front of you. And so I've heard of exams being canceled because the proctor suspected that someone was using some extra materials. So you avoid that at the testing center. And then also at the testing center, it's kind of away from everything. There's no chance of, somebody coming into your office at work, or, kids or a dog or something like that interrupting you when you're at home. So for what it's worth, that would be my input there, but of course you get to choose. Now, the page that you go to when you click on schedule the exam is actually a Pearson's View website page, but it's part of their PMI portal. And you can see, I know it's hard to see right there at the kind of on the right-hand side, that's where you do your login information. And here's a blow-up of that. And once you have logged in, then you can deal with, finding a testing center, and you can go to any Pearson's View testing center. And then once you've decided which testing center you want to go to, you look at the seat availability. If you're with the military, there are some additional options that can help you with that. And then down at the very bottom, if you have any questions about test accommodations, you can click on that. Now, if you choose to do it online, this is the link that you go to there, and it will walk you through all of the steps that you need to in order to, have the test, show up on your computer, and any rules that they have for how you behave when you're taking it. So either way, it's pretty simple. Pearson's View, of course, has been at this for a very long time, and so they're good. And they also have the ability to engage with somebody online if you need to. Now, so you're going to pass your PMP. You have 3 attempts to do that in 1 year. So once your application is approved, it's good for a year, and you can take the exam up to 3 times during that time period. Of course, your objective is going to be pass it the first time because there's costs associated with retaking it. So you want to make sure you're ready. And, if you were in one of my classes, I gave you guidance on how to know when you're ready. And we have our other instructors who are awesome instructors as well, and they also walked you through that. So you know what to do with that. Now, once you pass your PMP, it's good for 3 years. And what will happen is during that 3 years, you have to claim 60 PDUs in order to maintain it. PDUs, like we said earlier, are professional development units, and the simplest way to think about a PDU is it's 1 hour of education. And you can get your PDUs in more than one way. It's just primarily education, and here's the breakdown. If you look at the bottom on the left-hand side, there's the category of education, and there's a minimum of 35 PDUs that has to come from education. And you can see that the way that lines up is with the triangle. Remember that triangle we went over in class where you have the ways of working, which was the process side. Then you had your power skills, which is the people skills. And then you have the business acumen or the business environment part. So you claim your PDUs for education. You can also claim some PDUs in their giving back category. And you can see that you can claim as many as 8 PDUs for working as a project manager and a maximum of 17 PDUs for volunteering and creating project management knowledge. And in the aggregate, it can't exceed the 25 PDUs. So when you are going through your 3 years, you want to be claiming your PDUs as the time goes forward, because if you wait to the end of the 3 years, it'll be a mad scramble to get your 60 PDUs. And what will happen is at the end of 3 years, if you don't have your 60 PDUs, then your certification will end up being suspended. And then you have a maximum of a year to finish getting your PDUs. And then once you claim them, then you're taken off of suspension. If you go beyond that suspension period, your certification is revoked. It expires. And then if you wanted to get your PMP again, you'd have to go through the whole process of, the whole application process and taking the exam, etc. The way you claim your PDUs is it's done online. And there's the link where you do that. And there's a whole bunch of buttons that you can click on in each of those categories of education and giving back. And when you click on those, it's just super easy. You just claim your information and the hours and submit it. I will just make a comment. I get asked this a lot. Does the course that you went through, the exam prep course, count? And the answer is no, because you didn't have your credential yet. So the whole, continuing certification renewal process begins after you get your certification. And PMI is pretty liberal when it comes to how you claim your PDUs. They want you to stay part of the family. They want you to keep your certification up to date and current. And so, again, if you end up needing any help, they can help you with this. Now, if you look at this next screen right here, this is the dashboard view of the continuing certification renewal system. And this is mine. And check this out. Mine, when I did this screenshot, I was 5 days overdue. So I have far more than enough PDUs in order to qualify. I just need to go in and claim them, which I can obviously do. But I thought I would just show you what it looks like. So technically, I'm in the suspension period, or at least I was when I took this screenshot here. And you can see that as your claims are submitted, they are tracked. And if I can use my little highlighter here, make sure we're looking at the same spot. So it will show you your claims that are approved, if there any are rejected, or if there are any submissions that you need to provide more information. So it's super easy to just claim it and keep this up to date. And you'll notice in my particular situation, I have, when I took the screenshot, I had 20 PDUs that had been claimed and approved, and I needed to add enough to get 40 more. So now I've just taken mostly some screenshots off of the PMI.org website. There's some additional information that gives you more details. And the first one I wanted to bring your attention to is what PMI calls their PMP handbook. And this is a PDF. You can download it for free. And this will give you some, more details about the actual PMP process. And then there's another resource I wanted to bring your attention to, which focuses on, the continuing certification requirements, or how you claim your PDUs and how that all works. I don't know if you'll need to download the handbooks because it's pretty straightforward on the website. But if you do need some more information, some more detailed information, you have those two resources available. And that brings me to an opportunity to deal with any questions that you may have. So do I pass the time back over to you, Tracy? Is that how we do this?
You got it. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that very informative webinar. And we will get to some of those questions in a moment. But for now, we are going to launch a quick poll to find out how many people might be interested in taking some additional training. We do have a lot more informative webinars coming up, so simply just go to netcomlearning.com/webinars in order to register. And I know everyone is looking forward to the Q&A session with Jeff, so go ahead and start putting your questions into the panel. And while you do that, I'm going to pass the presentation rights over to Robin, our vendor manager, who's going to introduce you to some of our fantastic promotions and webinar-related courses. Okay,
Hey, and
Robin.
Tracy, if I can jump in here before Robin. So team, the reason that you're going to want to take a look at other trainings that are available by Netcom and take advantage of some of these specials that Robin's going to tell you about is because that's how you can earn PDUs. So what we're talking about is not just acquiring new information, but it's also the ability to gain some PDUs.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, go ahead, Robin. You have the screen.
Just to check, is my screen visible to everyone? Is it in full screen mode?
Yeah, go full screen mode.
I am in full screen mode. Is it visible to you guys?
Yeah, no, it's good. Thanks.
Yeah. So I would like to, first of all, I would like to thank the audience for attending this session. And I sincerely hope that it added value to your knowledge on the steps towards the PMP exam application and its process. And in case you feel like revisiting this session, you can do that by clicking on the access recording button, and we would be happy to make it readily available to you. Next, I would like to offer you a glimpse of Netcom Learning's capabilities and why we are the best that there is when it comes to learning services, training, talent development, and beyond. I take pride to announce that Netcom Learning is the winner of 2022 Microsoft Learning Partner of the Year Award, recognized by Microsoft, and Netcom earned this top spot out of 3,900 submitted nominations from more than 100 nations across the globe. Netcom Learning has been into managed learning space for 2.5 decades now and have provided its services to 80% of the Fortune 1000 companies. Having a strong reputation in B2G sector, Netcom has served over 100 US military bases, and we have trained over 175,000 professionals to learn and grow in their respective fields across 16,000 enterprise clients. We also cherish a recommendation rate of 96% from our customers. All the numbers I just mentioned have been a result of our specially curated trainings delivered by a portfolio of 3,000 plus certified trainers. Moving ahead, being an authorized PMI learning partner, I would like to announce Netcom Learning's upcoming schedule of classes on project management that you can explore through this handout. To add value to your learning curve, we encourage you to go through our free on-demand webinar and blogs on the project management through this handout, and also through our website under the resource section. Also, you can take advantage from Learning Passport, which is Netcom Learning's solution to a feasible and flexible team training. It is designed to be customized in line with the number of learners you plan to train from top technology vendors like Microsoft, Cisco, Adobe, and more. A single package can be redeemed over 4,000 official courses with a validity of 12 months. Keeping in mind the requirement of our customers, you can further choose from Learning Savings Passport or Learning Voucher Passport as per your need and requirement. Next, I would like to introduce you to Netcom Plus Learners Subscription, a learning solution that we have developed for our enterprise customers. All you're required to do is invest one time and reap the benefits of unlimited access to authorized training from top vendors like Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, and more through a span of 12 months. As displayed on your screen through this handout, we deliver the subscription in 3 types of packages. The free or the silver package allows you an access to 300 plus e-learning modules, or you can go for gold at $199 that give you an access to 400 plus e-learning modules along with silver package benefits. Third, we have for you our best selling and most popular platinum package at $2,999 that gives you an access to 400 plus e-learning modules and 120 plus virtual instructor-led training in addition to the gold package. We highly recommend that you go through our website for more information such as courses and certifications, our free virtual events, blogs, and our promotional offers. In case you're looking for a leadership point of view on the importance of lifelong learning and building smarter workforce, we highly recommend that you go through the book Building an Innovative Learning Organization by Russell Sarder, CEO Netcom Learning. You can find it easily on Amazon. I sincerely hope we could add value to your knowledge base in the time you choose to spend with us during this webinar. For more information on such sessions and latest updates on IT and business training, I request you follow and give us a shout out on our LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter channels. Thank you once again for joining us.
And Robin, thank you so much for that invaluable information about upcoming courses. And now, as promised, we are going to get to those questions. So for Jeff, and if you haven't done so, just pop them in the pane and we'll try to get to them. So Jeff, first question we have is from Tom, and he wants to know, how is an application selected for audit?
So the only thing that PMI says about that is that they are randomly selected and that they select about 10%. So there's really nothing you can do to influence it one way or another.
Okay, next question is coming from Jen. How many exam attempts will I have?
Well, you have a maximum of 3 exam attempts during the 1-year period that your application is valid. So there's a cost associated with each attempt. The first attempt is the priciest, and any follow-up attempts that you might need to take are less expensive, but it still costs you money. So the real question in my mind when it comes to how many attempts do you get is how can you maximize your chances of passing the first time? But you do have 3 if you need them.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. And once again, we want to remind you that as you do leave this session today, you'll be presented with a short survey, and we'd like to request that you just take a moment to participate in that survey because your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience, and we are constantly looking at how we can improve our future sessions for you. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. We want to thank all of you for joining us today, and if you do come up with any additional questions, feel free to send them to webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We hope that you found today's webinar informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us soon. Feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Have a great day, everyone.